land had gotten so competitive and lot prices had been ticking up, more of these builders started getting together and, to what Scott's talking about, forming entities together, self-developing, and then selling their building company lots. And that's how they can somewhat control the lot price.
From cornfields to high-rises, office to industrial, houses to hotels, and every other asset class in real estate, we cover the people, the projects, and the profit. Welcome to the Investing in Iowa show. This show is for go-doers, action takers, and business owners. It's for people like you who are sick of Uncle Sam taking a huge bite of your apple. If you're looking to get ahead of what's taking place in Iowa, learn who is doing what, and how you can get in on the action, you're in the right place. Hosted by Neil Timmins, an Iowa native who has been involved in over $300 million in real estate right here in Iowa. Recording in studio from West Des Moines. Here's your host, Neil Timmins.
Nathan Drew, Scott Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
I'm excited you're here. Say, for the audience's sake, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Go ahead.
Scott Kelly from Newton, I guess, technically. We do land development and land brokerage services. Go ahead.
I'll say a bit quick.
Graduated UNI and worked at People's Company for, I don't know, close to a decade as, I guess you've had Steve on, Steve Brewer's kind of right-hand guy with D.R. Horton, and did lot and land acquisition in the Des Moines Metro, Iowa City, Omaha, and Kansas City. And Nathan and I have kind of been doing this for 4 years, I guess.
Yeah. So that's my bird dogs.
Yeah. Now we're doing work with clients doing development services and also land brokerage stuff. So
Scott, when did you graduate UNI?
2009.
2009. Okay. So you're what?
15 years. Geez.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're with People's Company. Kind of a, Steve was really growing into his own to figure out what that business is.
Yeah. I mean, Steve bought it in 2002 or 2003.
Yeah.
I think when I started, we had like 12 people.
Right.
And by the time I left, they have like 75, and I did there like 130, 140. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, my name's Nathan Drew, and Scott and I each have our own brokerages. Mine's Drew Realty. It's a one-man shop, just like Scott. Land brokerage, lot brokerage, land development services all over the state, then Missouri, specifically Kansas City, and licensed in Nebraska for Omaha. But I got into real estate in 2008. Greatest time ever. So I was in KU, Kansas, transferred to Iowa for the entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I wanted to eventually get into assisted living center ownership. And I thought a good way to start developing assisted living centers would be building houses for active seniors. So started that company in the Bell Center at the University of Iowa, graduated in 2008. And my second semester senior year, I bought 3 lots with 2 foundations. It was right around the time when Regency was really struggling.
Yeah.
I was 22 years old. I had no idea what was going on. So regardless, got a couple of homes built. They turned into rentals really quick.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go get a real job. So I got my real estate license, and I actually hang it at People's Company. And so that's how Scott and I met each other. It probably would have been in 2008.
that summer.
Or maybe 2000. Scott was the intern.
Yeah.
And so I was running around doing lot and bank-owned lot deals, and ended up switching to Iowa Realty Commercial under Kevin Crowley, and worked a lot with him and Kelly Gibson, and really was focusing on some of their corporate clients, i.e. the builders and developers. So I got to do a lot of those transactions for, damn near 10-year period. And it was at the end of 2018. I was 33 years old, and I just, real estate's such an entrepreneurial industry. I had the money saved up. I felt like I had the knowledge, lot and development stuff. It was just time to go off on my own. So yeah, what is that? 5-6 years later, here I am.
Well, yeah, I think doing what you do in the lot side is not it's very specialized. It's unlike what people do on the house side is on a brokerage standpoint, because of the specialized knowledge that you need, especially certainly on the development side.
Yeah.
It's a heavy lift, I would imagine, from the acquisition, that knowledge that just takes place over a period of time doing this.
Well, and 2, in my career, I've transacted well over 1,000 lots or development parcels, but starting out when it was all bank-owned stuff, like as a 22, 23, 24-year-old, I had 200-300 lots listed at any given time. The market over this 16-year period has changed so much, where over the last few years, the market had been so incredibly hot that like these developers would put in these plats and the same three builders would come and say, I want 10, I want 20, I want 30. We haven't done a ton of lot transactions. It's been more of the working on the next pieces. Because again, that lot market had just been.
What did you early on having 200 or 300 lists, going through the 08 crisis, what did you learn? What have you taken away? What did you take away from that era that you applied?
So I want to let Scott tell this joke that it's not like a joke, but it's this thing that he always says. It's like, we've got the perfect playbook as to what not to do. Just because of it, I didn't mean to like steal your thunder, but it's so true. So being on this side of real estate, there's so much exposure for builders and developers, and you see the risk associated with it. And so I think a lot of real estate development, and specifically land development, is trying to analyze a deal and mitigate as much risk as you possibly can. I understand how obvious that sounds, but I'd say that's kind of what my take is. I know what you'd say.
That's definitely what came out of it. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of folks got in trouble because they got overextended, specifically with debt on the next piece. Since they moved through so quick. That's where they got caught a lot of times. I mean, some guys got in trouble because of the lots they were holding, but a lot of it was the next piece is the book you're on. So
the interest when you've got $2-3 million borrowed on a piece, it eats you alive.
What you're seeing today, I think, more is unless you're going to turn dirt on that specific piece tomorrow, guys are trying to pay with more cash if they can, if there's a possibility. Then they don't get in trouble down the road when interest rates double.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of that, interest rates double, over the last 2 years, we've seen a dramatic change. And I'm curious as to, we've seen a dramatic change in the interest rates, underlying debt. I'm curious as to what you've seen firsthand from lot sales, from new development, and just where things are in the pipeline of developments as a result of really interest rate change.
I mean, it's slowed down. It's been tough for deals to pencil out. There are still deals being put out there because, I mean, if you're a home builder, you need to be building homes. Otherwise, you're not a home builder. Right. And there is still demand for, new construction. Houses still are selling. It's just not at the velocity that they were, post-COVID.
Right.
So, and builders are offering a lot more incentives.
Yeah.
They're buying points down. A lot of times too, that it's a lot of builders that are self-developing and potentially selling to themselves and maybe one other guy, as opposed to a third-party developer. You still have that, but it's not, you can't find it in every community, and there's not a ton of guys doing it. It's the obvious players that are still,
Yeah, when you look at what lot sales are happening, it's the same people, it's the same few builders over and over. And on top of that, land had gotten so competitive and lot prices had been ticking up. More of these builders started getting together and, to what Scott's talking about, forming entities together, self-developing, and then selling their building company lots. And that's how they can somewhat control the lot price, is by doing the self-development.
One would think, take a skinnier deal on the construction side. They can decide where they want to make money.
Correct. Yes.
They probably view this as a holistic approach to go all in, all done. Here's what we're making.
I'd agree.
Maybe it helps them stay competitive.
Yeah. Because again, it's been fascinating to me, again, a baby of 2008, right? Back when I started selling lots were going for 10 grand. I mean, in the regular subdivision, but when banks were ready to, they're like, we need to get these off the books.
I mean, to be fair, those Walnut Creek ones that some guys bought, on from the bank for like 20 grand.
Yeah. And turned around and sold them for 40. Now, I thought that was like, you're selling a bunch of lots at 40 grand. I was like, $40,000. And those are going to be more than $250,000 homes.
Well, when the same lots be a day 85?
No. They'd be north of 100. Those same lots at the
Walnut,
whatever that was, the ones in Clive. Yeah. So it's like, again, starting out during that time, I'll see a plat come on from a developer, and this has been happening for years, see the plat come on, you'll see the size of the lots, you'll see the prices, and you're like, no, too expensive. Boom, not sold. Next year or two, like the next year, like 18 months later, the next plat, the prices have gone up another 12 grand. You're like, those you said, boom, all sold. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Conservative to a fault, unfortunately.
There is a lot of positive things taking place in the Des Moines metro area. One of the biggest ones being population. We got people moving here. We got bodies. Why? Best growing city in the Midwest. And beyond all other things, jobs and population growth trumps it.
I fundamentally believe for the rest of our lives, and probably our kids' lives, that metro is going to continue. You've got heavy finance, heavy insurance. You've got people coming from being relocated here from all over the Midwest. And then on top of that, and it's somewhat sad state of Iowa standpoint, but you have the brain drain in smaller town Iowa. And Des Moines is one of the places coming. So, I mean, in that sense, we're situated well, being in a good market.
That, like I've said for a long time, greatest singular export in the state is educated.
Yeah.
Educated people.
Yeah.
Like we've got 3 tremendous state universities who educate these people, send them out.
If we had a mountain range or an ocean.
Yes, I agree with you. The population continues to grow. At certain thresholds, there's just different things that come in.
Yeah.
You can only make up a number. 2 million people look around the Midwest. You get professional teams.
Yeah.
Right. There are certain numbers where it offers itself to go, okay, now we cross the threshold and something else can come. And that just means more people, you've got a different tie to go, yeah, that's cool.
We continue to get the cool stuff. What is the metro? I'm 730,000 people. Does that sound right?
Through the MSA, that includes.
Right on. Does it? So I don't know. I mean, what's that? I'm trying to think, were we 500,000? I was born in 85. Was the metro 400 gals? That's good. Like, I'm getting to, like, are we going to hit 1 million people? Both. Oh, yeah. That's going to require a lot of new houses, a lot of new housing units, and all of those new houses need to be built on lots. So,
yes.
Not only is the population increasing, the delta, it's increasing at an increasing rate.
Yeah, sure.
Ankeny, like 10 years ago, not even 10, it was increasing at like 6 people a day, and I think it's up to like some crazy, like 11.
Yeah. Growing up here, so I grew up in Central. I remember thinking of like Ankeny as this small town in between Des Moines and Ames. And it's like the same thing with Waukee. It isn't Waukee where the fastest. I thought, like, even in high school, I was like, the Waukee kids those are the farm kids. Man, insane.
People from Ankeny thought the same thing.
Watch out, who's yelling, listening.
People from Ankeny thought the same thing. I remember I started my career in real estate brokerage, right, selling houses. And I go to Ankeny to do a listing presentation or something. And they go, "Are you local?" Yeah. And I was like, "Well, I'm not from Minnesota. I'm not even sure what you mean by local." They're like, "No, are you from Ankeny?" I was like, "Oh, I just found it to be the strangest question." I'm telling you, time and time again, I get asked it so much that it burned my mind to go, they think of people from Des Moines differently.
Yeah. That is funny.
Yeah. But that's changed.
Yeah.
Totally changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, now, again, on the land side, you kind of, especially on the brokerage side, if you're doing it right, you have to be bird dogging stuff ahead of the land developers who are ahead of the home builders who are ahead of like the rest of the market. So, I mean, we look at stuff like Huxley and like even a little bit further out, just again, that's going to be part of the metro. There are people that move here that want to be in the smaller school district, have a more affordable house.
Hey, Iowa investors, this is Ava Baukamp, Chief of Staff at Legacy Impact Investors. Have you thought about adding real estate to your portfolio but don't have the time or desire to play landlord? At Legacy Impact Investors, we do the heavy lifting. Our team finds the deals, manages the properties, and handles all the day-to-day operations. Our select group of qualified investors co-invest with us, gaining ownership equity without opening a tenant email or responding to a maintenance call. They just share in the income, appreciation, and tax benefits. These opportunities aren't for everyone. They are for qualified, accredited investors only. If you want to learn more, please visit legacyimpactinvestors.com to apply.
Cole's a good example. I mean, Carl, ATI groups doing that. they've had a lot of success in that.
That's been awesome.
Right. I mean,
And Pella's an awesome community.
correct.
It's a little bit, I mean,
Right. But I'm saying, I mean, how long was it? There wasn't a lot of development there for many years. And now, the last couple of years, they've sold them pretty well.
if you had to guess, what percentage of the people that live like in that new area are commuting to the metro for work?
Oh, maybe one of the,
You always have.
I was going to say one spouse, maybe, but I don't know if you'd say half, but it's probably a pretty good percentage.
Yeah, that's been cool seeing that logic come together.
Let's talk about affordability. Read a lot about it in sort of Coelho election here, so it's going to be a bigger topic. I keep hearing there's a dramatic housing shortage, tremendous housing shortage. So we need to build more houses. And then, we talked offline. Go put up a new house. It's $450,000 on average.
Right.
So at some point you're going, okay, well, agree there's a shortage. We need more, but the average person who needs one can't afford the average price of that house.
Well, so what it ends, and I'm going to give such like the most obvious answer, but it ends up coming down. How do you get there? You get there with density, but it's like you can't get dense enough. Correct. To have a product that someone wants to buy and live in. So easy answers, I don't know. Like it really is. When we're looking at ground, like in the right area, we can get some stack and pack townhomes going down. Like that gets us excited because we know that the builders are going to think they're going to be able to chomp through those at a higher rate. But townhomes are expensive. Correct.
Everything's expensive.
Yeah, there's no cheap outcome, and money's expensive, which means the mortgage payments expensive, if you will.
Yeah, if DR can't build, a house in the 200s anymore, everyone else is going to struggle to stay for below 350. I mean,
what did you learn while working at DR?
Their approach is, from what I had known of other builders, their approach is a little different. They want to turn their cash, basically, even if that means taking a lower return on some of their product. If it's what they consider an aged inventory, which is not that old, they'll lower the price, get it moved, get the cash back, and start another. And so they have much more of a corporate. I mean, I guess you would got another largest builder in the nation. I don't know where I did last year, 85 or 90,000 homes.
It was right. I think was it 89? It was so
insane. And I think some of the local guys want to think that way too, but I think they have more of a personal touch, and some of the local builders, they just don't. First of all, DR Horton operates in cash, so that's
all cash.
That's how they have to think about it. They have their own treasury within DR Horton.
It is like just such a huge organization.
Yeah. The corporate background of home building and development, which was, not something I was used to. But that'd probably be the biggest thing. It's just how they approach the business. Not that they don't take personal care of their homes and their customers, I mean like that, but how they think about it versus how someone else might say, we need to get a 15% return or 12% return on this house. DR Horton's like, if that thing is, quote unquote aged inventory, slash it, get rid of it, let's move on to the next deal.
Well, and then starting those houses, it's like, okay, so let's say, something in lot sales, there's something called a takedown, where it's like, all right, let's say there's a plat of 50 lots. A builder might say, I'll buy these, but I'm not taking them all at once. I'm going to take them on a takedown. And so they might close 10, 12, 15 per takedown, which could be separated in 4 to 6, 8 month periods. My question is, I know how many maybe a local builder would put in when they'd close some lots at any given time. How many houses, how many permits in one subdivision will those guys drop? And like, how many foundations will they put at one time?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what the subdivision is, or the community, first of all. But I mean, and what the product is. But at Ankeny, I mean, there were those townhomes that they were doing recently up there in east side of Ankeny. They were putting in, I mean, I think they put in like 119 or so at one time. And then, but as far as single family homes go, they'll probably drop in, 8 basements in a row.
So if they closed, all right, let's use the round number. Let's say that their takedown was for 10 lots. Would they drop 10 foundations, or would they hold some of those lots?
10 total lots, or like
10 lots in the singular takedown?
Yeah, they'd probably get pretty close, probably 6 to 7 of them.
And then you think about that, like think of the efficiencies that you're able to take advantage in the construction when you're going 7 at a time versus 2.
Yeah, that just comes down to the size of how much cash you have too.
Yeah.
They're a monster. So
yeah. And they're able to pass a lot of those savings on the consumer, which keeps the ball rolling. It's interesting. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they're the largest builder.
Yeah.
Your crystal ball, where are we headed as it relates to new developments, new plats coming down? What are the next 2 to 3 years?
So, like I said, things have slowed down a bit in real estate. However, there are plats coming in Polk County. In Polk County in July, it was something like 12 new plats were filed. And I think like 8 of those were for single family or townhomes. And a lot of those plats coming on are large tracts of ground the developer had bought. And again, they're just chewing through that. If they're going to be a home builder, you need to be building houses. So they bring on the next plat and just continue to chew through it. We need to talk about interest rates a little bit. So in my opinion, interest rates are going to drop in September, 25 basis points. I think it's likely over the next year that they do right around 25 basis point drops over like that year period. I don't think that's enough for everybody to press the go button and things just start going wildfire again.
The go button being that a whole bunch of people are locked into their mortgage at 2, 3, 4%, decide that they're actually going to sell.
Yeah, right. And so I think we're going to continue to dribble on like we're dribbling right now, and kind of like 2023, at least through 2025. Am I crazy for thinking that?
I don't know. My answer is I have no clue. My fear is that interest rates go down 25 basis points per quarter for the next year. And all of a sudden, because demand is so hot, they've probably taken a little bit of but they haven't dropped like what you would think that they would when interest rates double.
But the market gets so excited about those small drops that inflation goes right back up.
Got it. That's my fear, is that all of a sudden we're still sitting here talking about you can't build a house for less than $350. You have to pay $400 for it, whatever it is. All of a sudden, if we start dropping rates, does that number increase even more? Like is home? I don't know. And I'm not even going to pretend like I do know.
If you're a house flipper, execute the burst strategy or do double closings and are in need of money, Little Guy Loans is your go-to lender here in the Des Moines area. Time is money. Loan approvals in 24 hours. Closings in 5 days. Little Guy Loans was founded by Neil Timmins, an investor just like you. Since he has been in over 10,000 homes in Des Moines, there's never an appraisal. Houses, multifamily, and commercial property loans up to $1 million. Check out www.littleguyloans.com.
Read the things that come out, the job reports, CPI, inflation appears to be heading in the right direction today. Stock market, continues to flirt with an all-time high, seems like every few weeks. But then the other side of it is that credit card debt and delinquencies are at an all-time high.
Yep.
Delinquencies look like what they looked like in 08.
Credit card debt continues to make all-time highs.
Correct. What's over month?
You look at you think of all the indicators and think of it like a scatter plot. There's no direct correlation. They're just all over the place. So it's really tough to predictions. Again, I try to be conservative on all this stuff. In my heart of hearts, I am an optimist, and our lot supply is continuing to dwindle. And at some point, all this is going to come back, and there will come a time where it's coming back hard. The concern is that we're going to be under lots. But again, I don't know when the development community presses that green go button.
Raw piece of ground to the time that you can give somebody can pull up building permit is not overnight. So then you're trying to play the timing game of what does it look like 18 months from now?
Well, and let's say that the number is, the interest rate is that 6%. Is everybody pressing the go button at that time? And then all at once we're bringing on too many lots. Oh.
What it would seem like and sound like is there certainly needs to be a greater level of certainty, and that people are going to commit to going and putting a plat in, because, as you said, Scott, it takes a while, and it also won't cheap. No, it takes serious capital to be able to play distant, right? You've got to have some certainty in that environment in order to place those bets.
Like you said, the scatter plot, there's no trend right now at all. Things are still moving, but it's not and traditional move.
Right. And, over the last couple years, land sales, I'm not talking lots, I'm talking land sales, have been on fire. land slowed down quite a bit too.
Has the appreciation in farmland, has that challenged? How has that impacted you when you go out, you're calling on this ground, knowing that it's in the path of progress?
So tell them about how the high price of commodities, which translates to the high price of land, farmland, has messed us up on our development land acquisitions.
Yeah, more than just the high price commodities, but yes, the appreciation of farmland sounds like a broken record, but I'm just going to say 10 years ago, plus or minus. The best form of accounting was, 10 grand an acre, 11 grand an acre. So when you were going and telling developers, hey, we're going to give you 30 for your ground, you can go get 3 to 1,
3 acres to 1 acre.
yeah, you can go get 3 acres, 3 agricultural acres for your 1 acre. They could go buy some great ground right somewhere. And now while that has softened very recently, far ag ground has. And so now they're finally going to get 2 acres. And
if I'm only getting 2, I don't want to sell.
Yeah, so we've made a couple of offers, good offers to some folks. Their response is, thanks, this is a great offer. I don't have literally anywhere to go with money because I don't want to pay all-time high farm prices. And their dirt's 85 CSR, and so they want to replace it with something very similar to it. And if they do find something that's too far away, or it has gotten in the way a few times in the past few years.
A few times over the last few years, is it's obvious the right piece of ground that's ready to go. You think at what the landowner would want, you can get a deal rolling on your development. But we've spent more time trying to come in hand with the 1031 opportunity and saying, look, we want to buy the ground. Here's what you can 1031 into. And that's been so helpful. But it's challenging. And a lot of the times, the thing that makes we've made that work a couple times, but a lot of the times what it is, hey, there's an auction coming up. Yeah, what's a really good farm? You just go check it out.
Right. I mean, the family farm is a good example of, it's a great piece of ground and it's close to town and we're going to take it to auction. So then that, from trying to help somebody 1031 or something, it's like, you got to go to this auction if you want to do it. And then they are struggling. They're at the auction. They don't know if they want to pull the trigger or not. It's been a cluster.
Yeah, the auctions, you've got to come knowing you want to buy and knowing what your number is.
Right.
All right, you guys ready for, well, actually, let me ask you this. We're going to you guys could live anywhere. You could do anything. Why did you choose to be here? Why Iowa?
Go ahead, Scott.
That's a good question. I don't know that I even have an answer, actually. I'm just sitting here trying to think of one. You have to edit this out, too. The funniest part is I was going to go to Colorado or somewhere after school.
Why Iowa? What got you here?
My ex-wife and kids.
What keeps you here? Same answer.
Why don't you just cut all my stuff out and then you can just go directly to Nathan?
Mine's pretty easy. Like, I grew up here. Des Moines is a great town. And I hear that from more and more people, more and more friends that come from out of town. What a great town Des Moines is. I've known that, since I was young, and I always wanted to be back here. I like real estate because it's like, I like helping grow my hometown. And you get to do that. We get to see a farm and, it's got utilities stubbed into it, but we get to see a farm go from being a farm into like a neighborhood. I find that really rewarding. So that's why I'm here.
Ditto.
That's so great. What are you guys most excited about the next year?
I don't know. A lot of the stuff we've been chasing are more some distressed assets. And I think there's opportunity there. Other than that, it's the pieces of ground in the right areas. There is still, builders are still buying lots. Yeah, in the right areas. So constantly having our hands out there, trying to massage relationships with landowners. So I'll be excited about that, the next piece, hopefully the rest of my career.
You guys ready for the final 3 questions?
Yes.
If you had one piece of advice to your 20-year-old self, what would it be?
I can say mine. I'd say keep going, because I look back at my younger self all the time and I get proud of the stuff that I either accomplished or went through. And I hope that someday in the future, I'll look back to myself now, during these questionable times, still trying to figure stuff out, where it's yeah, he kept going when things didn't make a ton of sense.
I like that. I don't have the answer.
2 books that changed your life.
Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And have you read that book? It's one of the best books I've read. And then, funny enough, they made a movie of this, but I read it before it was a movie. Michael Lewis's Moneyball. And it's about Billy Beane, who's the general manager for the Oakland A's. And what he did is they were like an underfunded baseball club, but they started looking at like quantifiable data points of players and taking advantage of inefficiencies where scouts would, a guy would look like an MLB player and they'd go after guys that made more sense on paper and maybe didn't look as good. I do that with my lot and land inventories, trying to find inefficiencies, the big or the 70-foot lot in West Des Moines for $120,000 isn't necessarily the best bet. If you can find a lot in maybe Pleasant Hill that doesn't seem as sexy, but you're getting it for $65,000. So trying to piece together those inefficiencies is how I try to run my business.
Tony Robbins says that companies go out of business not due to lack of resources, but due to lack of resourcefulness. That is a terrific book.
Yeah, I'd say The Alchemist, probably, which is a popular book.
Yeah, that's another one of the best books of all time.
And What to Expect When You're Expecting. Actually, the Almanack of, I always say his name wrong, Naval, Ravikant is a really good one.
Talk about that.
It's about looking things in a different than everyone else, basically, how you looking forward, how things are going to get done, money's going to get made, different opportunities. And I guess it was probably written a little while ago still, but it's still pretty relevant.
If you were cast away on an island for a year, you can only get 3 pieces of data each month to know how your business is running. What 3 things must you know?
I wouldn't necessarily need even 3 things that wouldn't necessarily be directly correlated to my business. But I mean, the 2 things that I'm constantly looking are my Google Earth, got that open all day, every day, and my inventories that I keep. So are they directly, am I knowing how my business is doing off of those? No, but those are the 2 things that I'm constant.
Inventories that you keep. You have inventory of every single plat in the counties you work in.
Yeah. So it's split up by city, and I keep track of every single vacant lot, regardless of zoning, in each city, broken down by development. And then I update it once a month when the permit is pulled on a lot, it comes out. But then when the final plat is put on the plat, all those lots come in. So I know where each city is at any given time. And I can compare those to historical numbers on like how many house sales at price points in each city. And it's like, oh, this town needs more lots at this size, at this price point. We need to go get that piece of ground.
Yeah, those are probably the answers. Those are the 3 pieces of information. Who's buying what? How much was it?
Yeah.
And where is it?
Connect those dots. That's the lot and land business.
For people who want to find you, they want to follow you, they want to connect with you, where can they go? What should they do?
My brokerage is on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's at Drew Realty or at Drew Realty USA, but really like email's the best for me. Nathan, Nathan at Drew Realty USA.com.
Yeah, just contact Nathan. I'm not on social media. So
Can't be found. The man behind it.
don't worry about finding me.
I appreciate you guys coming on.
This is fun. This is a good conversation.
That's a great conversation. I love, I love connecting with you guys. We do this regularly. And Chuck, Mike.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys coming in.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you're enjoying the show, may I ask a favor of you? Naturally, subscribe so you never miss an episode. But would you rate and leave an honest written review on Apple Podcasts? It does a lot for us here at the show, and I appreciate reading your thoughts. Great guests make for a great show. If you know of another Iowan who would be a great guest, or you yourself have interest in being a guest, well, get on our radar. Visit Investing in Iowa to fill out an application or recommend a guest. And if you want to connect with me one-on-one, go to LegacyImpactInvestors.com. Click on the Invest With Us button in the top right corner, and there you can pick a time for the 2 of us to get on the calendar and connect. Until next time, Keep investing in Iowa.